Got some breaking news which is coming in at the moment. Boeing's first statement on the initial investigative report that has come out. Boeing says they are all set to support the investigation. Boeing, however, refuses to take the onus for the fuel switch glitch that apparently has taken place. No response from Boeing on the fuel switch malfunction that has been pointed in the AAIB report. Boeing has said that they will support the investigation, they will cooperate in this investigation. However, the company is refusing to take onus on the fuel switch malfunctioning, which apparently took place. No response from Boeing on the fuel switch malfunction that apparently happened. And the initial report is pointing towards the fact within 1 second from run to cutoff. That's the way in which the fuel switch malfunctioned. The pilots had barely a few seconds before they could react. There was in fact even a conversation between both the pilots. There was a mayday call which was made, and then we all saw that very unfortunate crash taking place in which 270 people lost their lives. This is Boeing's first statement, first reaction coming in on the AI investigative report. Boeing is saying that they will support the investigation, they will cooperate. They, however, are refusing to take onus for the fuel switch. No response from Boeing on the fuel switch malfunction. My colleague Sandeep is also now joining me on the broadcast. Sandeep, one of the things which now everyone is very keenly looking at is the fact that way back in 2018 also there were recommendations which were being made with regards to the fuel switch. Can you hear me, Sandeep?
Report is that switches for both engines. Yes, I can.
Go on.
The report. Yes, the report says that the flight lasted just about 30 seconds between liftoff and crash, and the movement of the fuel control switches. These are very critical switches that allow and cut fuel flow to the plane's engines. There is something that went wrong there, and these are very deliberate actions, and their accidental movement of these switches is almost next to impossible. Switches have brackets on either side to protect them. They have something called a stop lock mechanism, which means that the pilots have to actually lift the switch before moving it to either of the two positions, that is run and cut off. Now, the report hasn't mentioned whether the investigators have been able to ascertain if the switches were manually toggled by the pilots or not, but it clearly points to some kind of a technical issue involving these switches, and they've highlighted this 2018 report, which actually highlighted the fact that there were some issues with the locking mechanism of these switches. And these switches usually, Aishwarya, are moved around only when the aircraft is on the ground, right? And you use it either to start the engines before you take off, you depart, or you shut them down only after landing. And moving these switches during the flight is required only if there is a catastrophic engine failure or an emergency where the aircraft has suffered so much damage that you would actually have to shut off the fuel supply to ensure flight safety. So we really don't know what exactly happened there, but there's something that is clearly wrong that points to these fuel switches being the cause of this issue. And that is where these FAA's 2018 report, which highlights the fact that there is a potential disengagement of the fuel control switch locking feature. Now, this report was issued in 2018 after certain operators flagged this, and they said that there was something wrong with these fuel control issues, and that is the reason that prompted the FAA to issue this instruction to all operators of the 737s and the 757s, but clearly it was not serious enough to warrant a very serious investigation and airworthiness investigation of all the aircraft of that thing. But this preliminary report, Aishwarya, points to something very critically wrong with those fuel switches. So we have to actually wait for the full report to come out before we can conclusively establish what went wrong. The series of actions that the pilots took in that very limited time that they had, literally 30 seconds. And these are two very experienced pilots. They had something like 9,000 hours of flying time between them. They tried their best to save the aircraft, and it went from from an emergency to a catastrophe in just a matter of seconds, Aishwarya.